Who's ready to get up? Yeah, I see you've been eating tomatoes. Oh, there we go. Come on, ladies. There's 1 and 2 and 3. And Miss Violet is in the coop. She's partially broody, guys. Poor Miss Violet. What you doing in there, girlfriend? Got some pretty eggs already this morning. Good morning, YouTube friends and family, and welcome to an early morning start to the day, as it is every day. So today I want to talk about a really important topic, and that is sustainable homesteading versus homesteading sustainably. I hope you'll stay tuned. Now, y'all may notice I'm perspiring, even though it is not yet 7 o'clock. We are, as I think much of the world is right now, we are in quite a heat wave, and it is already 79 degrees with 87% humidity. There's a little bit of a breeze, which is going to help me get through this today. So, pretty much on the daily, my routine looks very similar through the summer. And that is taking care of my animals, whether it's Frankie or the chicken girls, harvesting, which has been the never-ending gift that has kept on giving. Hold on, guys. I do not like my new ring light. Can I just say that? I think I've said that a million times. Oops. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. So, I noticed yesterday just how many beautiful jalapenos I have. And guys, I think I have enough for another batch of cowboy candy. Now, while it's tempting, fully admit this, to not do the work required and to just let this go, that kind of defeats the purpose of sustainability. Now, if I ate a steady diet of jalapenos, granted that I'd be spicy, wouldn't I? But that is not going to sustain me, and I understand that. However, y'all know my love of hot and spicy food, and I do not want to let these beautiful jalapenos go to waste. So I thought, you know what? I can make a second batch of cowboy candy, because it makes a great gift at the holidays. Even people who don't really care for spicy food will generally enjoy it. And I'm also picking some sweet peppers, ones that are ripe anyway. We got a couple 3. So lots of good eating there as well. So I'm going to finish picking my peppers, see what else we might be able to harvest this morning, and then I want to sit down and talk to you a little bit about sustainable homesteading versus homesteading sustainably. All right, y'all. Ignore the healthy sheen on my face, but we got a whole nother bowl of fun goodness. So, y'all, these are my zinnias that I grew from seed. I just direct sowed them, and let me tell you what, I have had so many beautiful, that doesn't look so good, bouquets of flowers from these. So since my sunflower that fell over is done, let's maybe trim this up a little bit. And these are one of the things that people may say, well, that's not sustainable. Like, why are you doing that? Well, one, I can save the seeds. Two, I can enjoy the beauty. And three, that is a pollinator attractor for my garden. So it definitely helps me. So what did I harvest? Well, the weeniest pumpkin you've ever seen. So I am having a little bit of pest pressure at this time of the year. I've got a lot of squash, borer bugs, which can really destroy things, that I've been treating with neem oil. Seems to be fairly effective, but I won't say that it's 100% effective. So as I'm seeing pumpkins that are nearly ripe, I am picking them in hopes of saving their lives. Y'all, can you believe I'm still getting tomatoes? I'm also, because of the intense heat, I'm picking tomatoes and letting them counter ripen a bit. As you see, my vase collection. So these can be diced and eaten or frozen. My bell peppers. And then, y'all, look how many jalapenos I got. Lots, right? So let's let these soak a little bit. So I get a lot of flack. Guys, I get a lot of snark. I get a lot of pushback on the fact that I'm not really a homesteader. And I find it extremely frustrating because, I mean, whatever you want to call me, a chief basket weaver. I don't weave baskets, by the way. But, you know, I think pigeonholing what a homesteader is unfair to the people who are trying to be more self-sufficient. So let's sit down while these peppers kind of hang out here. I'm going to put a little thieves in the water, some thieves fruit and vegetable soak. I'm going to let them hang out for a little bit. And we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about sustainable homesteading. What is homesteading versus homesteading sustainably? I think you're going to find it interesting, and I hope you'll stay tuned. So y'all, I just wanted to show you, I got 1 pound, 7.2 ounces of jalapenos. So that is enough for a half batch of cowboy candy. Y'all, it's hot. I hope y'all are staying safe, well hydrated in this heat and humidity. Please excuse my sweaty face and my wet hair. I'll cool down shortly. What I wanted to talk to you about a little bit is just the general overwhelm that can come from, whether you want to call it self-sufficiency or homesteading, whatever you want to call it. And again, guys, if you're here, had a few of you lately, to you know, snark about my appearance, if you're here to snark about I'm not really a homesteader, move on with yourself. Because the reason that I do YouTube is certainly not for financial gain. Just saying. I do it because I have information that I hope to share and pass on. Because, guys, I live with regret. My dad's mom was an amazing woman. Off-grid with no indoor plumbing until I was about 12 years old. So she raised 10 kids like that. So much of her knowledge is lost, and it's lost forever. So anything that I can pass on, whether it's to my friends, my family, my kiddo, you know, whatsoever, I want to do that. But I do get overwhelmed. And harvest is coming to an end. Please, Lord. I don't mean to be ungrateful. I'm kind of over the tomatoes, though, if I can just say that. But even though it's coming to an end, a lot of times at the end is when it gets overwhelming. So I wanted to talk with you today about the difference between sustainable homesteading and homesteading sustainably. And it might sound like, oh, that's the same thing, but it's not. So the definition of sustainable is able to be maintained at a certain level or a certain rate. If you combine that with homesteading, it's having your plants and animals work together, not only to benefit each other, but to benefit you as the homesteader. Now, whether you want to say, well, you're not a homesteader if you don't have X number of acres or X type of animals, or if you still go to the grocery store, I'm not here to argue that. What I'm really talking about is self-sufficiency. And it's a hallmark of homesteading. It's producing as much as you can of what you need or consume. And it's also can be, and I don't like the way this sounds, but I think you'll get what I mean. It's being confident that you don't need other people. And by that, I don't mean that we don't need three-dimensional people and friends and family in our life. What I mean is, let's say, Lord forbid, that there's a new V and the food chain is dramatically interrupted and things closed down. You know, our economy really suffered from the virus of 2021. So I'm confident that I can go many months without relying on the grocery store. Now, would I have everything I wanted? Absolutely not. Would I have everything I need to survive? I absolutely will. So being confident and not needing a supply chain to meet your every need is really good. Do I grow everything that I consume on my homestead? Absolutely not. Y'all have seen the size of my garden? No. But I am self-sufficient in that I'm dependent on me for my happiness. And I don't mean that I don't have friends and family and people I socialize with. I am happy doing this. I can entertain myself. Although yesterday, y'all, my internet was down for 15 hours. I don't have cable. I watch a lot of YouTube. I was like paralyzed. So I'm like, need to be on the grid for that. I'm also dependent on myself for comfort, whether that's turning on the AC or making myself my favorite unsweet iced tea, or spending time outdoors barefoot, which I absolutely love, and it helps ground you if you've never done that. So really, I am living a very, very simple life. Now, I want to take you back just for a minute after I have another beverage. I'm sorry, guys. Back when I worked. So the last 12 years of my career, I traveled extensively for my job. I saw so many places I'd never seen before in my life. I was in big cities. I spoke at very, very large conferences. I ate at the finest restaurants, if that's what was on the agenda for that particular trip. My life was not simple. It was a complication of travel delays, flight delays, just a lot of things that made life less than easy while I juggled maintaining a home, maintaining groceries, maintaining my yard. At the time, I didn't have a yard service, so I was doing a lot of the weekend warrior stuff if I was back from travel and not stuck in some random city. So to me, this is what I longed for when I worked, and I knew this day was coming. Now, I did do some small scale gardening. I've been making soap for about 30 years, so, nothing new there. But this life of being more dependent on myself for what I need has brought me so much joy. But with that joy comes some overwhelm. So back to the topic of what's the difference between sustainable homesteading and homesteading sustainably. So first, let's talk about what does it mean sustainable homesteading. So for me, some of the things that I do, I seed save. So I am not dependent on the supply chain for everything that I grow. Do I buy seeds? I absolutely do if they're available or I want to try something new. But I know that from year to year, I can regrow, whether it's sunflowers or flower flowers or tomatoes or beans. I can seed save and I will have that for the next year. I try to grow foods that are either part of the Dirty Dozen, So that's thin-skinned things like strawberries and raspberries, tomatoes that are heavily treated with herbicides and pesticides in order to help them to grow and produce more. I also try to grow foods that are expensive. Guys, strawberries are expensive. Tomatoes, if you try to go to the grocery, first of all, it doesn't taste like a tomato. They're so expensive. Some of the healthier options for organics can be quite pricey. So I try to grow foods for me that are expensive to purchase or are on the dirty dozen. I can also sew, y'all. I can make clothing. I can make things for my home like canning mats, canning mitts, pot holders, so many things. I also know how to use some herbal remedies. One of the greatest things that I have done for myself, y'all, it's so easy to grow, you might wish you hadn't grown it, is yarrow. So I take an anti-inflammatory medication that kind of thins your blood, so I bruise really easy, and if I get the littlest cut, I bleed and I bleed and I bleed. Well, yarrow is a natural wound treatment, so it will stop the bleeding like that. It's kind of like for guys if you use a styptic, when you're shaving and you cut yourself. It's kind of on that order. I grow mint, I grow lemon balm, which benefits my chickens as well as myself. So knowing how to use essential oils to make safe cleaning products. Now, do I buy things? I absolutely do. Do I have to? No. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the end, but I've got a couple more points first. Another way that I try to sustainably plant things is I do companion planting. So for example, I did plant those sunflowers so that my Kajari or Kahari, depends on how you want to say it, to me it's Kajari, melons could vine up that until the squirrel got in it. But I still think I'm going to have 3 melons, y'all, so that's good. My chickens. We live in a symbiotic relationship. They give me eggs. I give them garden waste. I am the drop coordinator for Azure, so I get a credit each month. So my chicken feed costs me nothing if I apply my credit towards chicken feed. I also sell my eggs. The chickens get rid of a lot of pests in the yard, and they make me manure, which I can use in my garden. So that is the type of symbiosis that I'm talking about. Another thing, I can make any type of bath and body product that I need, whether it's shampoo, conditioner, a vinegar rinse for my hair, soap, lotions. I can make all of that. Now, I have to buy some of the products to make that, but I can also sell it at a profit, which I do. And you can also barter, guys. You can say, I will make you 10 bars of soap if you will give me a gallon of goat's milk. I do a lot of that. So to me, that is self-sufficiency on my little homestead. So that brings us to what is the difference between sustainable homesteading and homesteading sustainably. That is a hard word for me, y'all. Or at least in the morning it is. Maybe I need a little more caffeine. Could I keep up this pace year-round, day in, day out, that happens at harvest time? I'm going to tell you, no. I'm old. I have some health challenges. So I have to be very precise in what I want to do and what is overwhelming for me. Example, could I transform my entire backyard into a garden space? I don't know where the chickens would go, but I mean, in theory, yes. Or I could make my garden larger, which I might do. I could do that. However, as one person, can I harvest and preserve it all? Would I expend way more effort than I have left in my bod and fail? So I have to make smart decisions. I was watching a YouTube video. Thankfully, I have internet now. Still a little mad at Spectrum, but at any rate, the gal hates canning. Nothing wrong with that. I love to can. I would can, well, I do can year round, but I would help people can just for the fun of canning, because I think it's so fun to plant a seed, watch it grow, harvest the food, and preserve it, and then eat it. I think that's just the neatest cycle of life. However, she hates canning. So she was doing a pantry tour, and she had a lot of dried beans. Now, you've all seen my pantry tour. You know I have a lot of dried beans, but guess what, guys? I got a ton of canned beans on my shelf. Why? And her point was, these dried beans will last much longer than canned beans. So I don't understand why people can beans. Well, I do. I totally understand. Have y'all ever needed beans for a recipe and you didn't soak them overnight, and so you have to do the no soak method, quick boil, and then they have to set forever or boil on the stove forever? I do it for convenience, and I will eat, pardon me, my canned beans. But on the other side of that, if I had a cow to milk and small children and a lot more responsibility, I probably would not can beans. So I think you have to weigh out what gives you a return on your investment. Yesterday, I'm going to be fully honest, as you know I always am, I griped all the way to Jeffersonville to the Azure pickup, and all the way home because of the detour, because it was the hottest day of the year. It was the largest drop we'd ever had, and I was like, I just don't know if this is worth it. And the more I thought about it, I thought, if I break that chain of free chicken food, it's gonna have sort of a down the line effect. And I really do enjoy meeting the people, helping the people. It's just yesterday was really hot and I was aggravated. So that is something that I'm not ready to give up. One of the things that I would like to do, and I have not done a good job at it this year, is really decrease my reliance on, I'll just say, the supply chain. Whether I'm buying refrigerators. No, this was a great purchase, guys, really was. I am so happy to actually have refrigerator room for all my harvest. It's really helped me out a lot. But Amazon or clothing is another example. Guys, I don't know if you've noticed, I've been rolling out some really old clothes. I did the big closet clean out, and it is so much easier to get dressed because everything in there I know I can wear. You probably see a lot of repeats, but you know what? Our ancestors had very few clothes because it was expensive, it was challenging to make them, and it was really challenging if you didn't have indoor plumbing and electricity to wash them. So simplifying my life is probably going to be a lot of my theme going forward into next year. Does it mean that the channel won't exist or it'll change dramatically? Probably not. This is more of a personal level that I want to decrease my reliance on outside sources. Am I going to eliminate the grocery store? Absolutely not. Am I going to go less often? I absolutely plan to. Will I still order things from Amazon? I will, because we don't have those things here. You know, people do these big, and I'm not criticizing, but they do these big like Costco hauls, and I'm like, my nearest Costco's like an hour away. Yeah, no. And I just would rather live a little more simply, because I know myself well enough that I'll be like, oh, I so need that, right? So it will also help my bottom line budget. So y'all might be wondering, like, what was the point of all that? And the point was to be an encouragement to you. Think about what is important to you, what helps promote your self-sufficiency or sustainability, what makes sense, because time is money, right? So how much energy do you have? How much manpower do you have? What makes the most sense for you? And that is why when I get all the snark, which I get a lot of, about, well, you're not really a homesteader and you didn't make that Ezekiel bread right. It hurts my heart because I wonder how many other channels are getting the same thing, number one. But it's really just about doing the best you can do with the resources that you have. And your time and your energy and your health are important resources. All right, we're going to switch gears now, guys. This is going to be a little this and a little that today, I think. So, I did my Azure pickup yesterday, and I realized, you know what, guys? I have not done an Azure haul in a while. And you know I can't have everything out, right? Yeah, I need the funnel. So what did I buy? It wasn't a huge order from me, but I got some neat things that you'll probably get to see in some upcoming videos. So one of the things that I really like is their organic pure lemon juice. It is great for canning, and it is not from concentrate. So if you look at the real lemon, the yellow and green bottle, it is from concentrate, and it is not organic. This isn't cheap, but a bottle like this will last me a long time for canning because I primarily use citric acid, but not always. I also purchase, it's a little cheaper than it is at Walmart, their liquid stevia. This lasts me a very long time. I put it in my unsweet tea. I did, and it is organic. This is Fair Trade Stevia Naturals, organic stevia. Liquid sweetener crafted with organic fair trade stevia. I do want to try to do some of that next year. I have the seed, I just didn't do it. Another thing, my salt leaked. Hang on, guys, let me rinse this off. I was wondering what all that gritty was from. I love, love, love their avocado oil. And it is organic, and I try to always get the glass bottle. It's a little bit more pricey, but it stays a lot fresher. And if you remember in my video about what's to come, avocados and avocado oil or avocado products are one of the things that are going to greatly increase in price. Another thing are nuts. So Azure sells their raw pecans that are organic. So I don't know if that is going to fit in a quart. We'll have to see about that. I also love their apple juice infused dried cranberries. So I will use the pecans, like raisins, the dried cranberries in my homemade granola. I made a batch when I was helping with my aunt's estate sale, and they just yummed it up, and I used honey to sweeten it with, and it was really, really good. So what I like to do is take my glass mason jars and I will vacuum seal. And I do not reuse my lids for canning, but I will reuse a lid to seal, vacuum seal things like this. So now I have items that I can make granola out of, and I also have some for baking, you know, for the holiday time. And if it's vacuum sealed, it will stay fresh. The other thing that I love is their organic Thompson raisins. So if you think about a grape, it's thin-skinned. Think Dirty Dozen. So I will spend up a little bit for the organic raisins. But I'm actually planning, I know, and I'm overwhelmed a little bit. I'm also planning a trip today to Piper's, and I'm going to take you along because we have had an early harvest this year, and Piper Orchard does grow their own apples, and they have both Honeycrisp and one called Zestar, or Zester, Z-E-S-T-A-R. It is a delicious apple. Now, you might be like, why, when you have all this stuff to process, are you thinking about buying something that you don't grow on your homestead? And yes, I want an apple tree. Not this year. Well, the reason is I have been doing a little bit of research, even as a non-drinker, into making some apple brandy. So I will give a shout out to, they don't need my shout out, to Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, but she makes, and it's not a true brandy, guys. It's really not. What she does is she takes a big glass jar. So this is a 2-gallon Anchor Hocking. Now I did order this because it's hard to find the 2 gallons in the store, or I couldn't find them in my local Walmart. You do a layer of apples, a layer of raisins, layer of apples, layer of raisins, and you just keep pressing them down and you allow it to ferment. Now I realize that's alcohol, guys. I do know that. So I'll tell you a little funny. My grandma died when I was 12, my mom's mom, and my grandpa remarried. And his wife suffered with terrible arthritis. And she was a big believer in brandy cures everything. So whether I use this for medicinal purposes or to do tinctures, to extract beneficial properties out of certain herbs for consumption, excuse me. I think I snuffed up a cat here. Whew, Frankie's shedding like crazy. I'm going to give it a try because I think it will be fun. I think it'll be something interesting. And guys, you can always use items like that for barter, even if you're not a drinker yourself, because I'm not a drinker. So this will be a new experiment for me. The last thing that I did purchase from Azure is their pure Himalayan pink salt velvet extra fine crystal. That's what's leaked. And I'm low, guys. I hardly have any pink Himalayan left. I've been using a lot during preservation season, not a heavy salter, but I do like pink Himalayan. I did go ahead and place an order for Redmond real salt because everybody just raves about the minerals and the quality of it. So I'm going to give it a shot as well. Salt does not expire. You just need to keep moisture out of it. So let me get this redded up here, get things cleaned up. It's too early to go to Piper's, but we're going to go to Piper's and see what they have today. It's always fun to take you along. I hope you'll stay tuned. Such a beautiful entrance, albeit rough, to the orchard. They have many, many acres and acres of land. It goes way back. It's looking a little ominous in the sky, but we're not forecast to get any rain. So let's go in and see what we can find today at Piper's. Y'all, if I use the footage from inside, I'm gonna have to voice over because I swear there was a dude outside following me around the store with the leaf blower. But they keep everything really nice here. If you are local to Piper and you buy the 2 big bags of apples, they will give you the half bushel price. So even though I'm a little overloaded with preservation projects, I did get my zester apples. And then I got a few jalapenos because they had them for $2.99. And that way I can do another full batch of cowboy candy. So I will see you at home with some closing thoughts. I hope you'll stay tuned. I hope today's video has been an encouragement to you. And if you're feeling the overwhelm of harvest or just the overwhelm of self-sufficiency, that you'll think about some of the points like what brings me the most benefit. What do I have the time and energy available to do? Or sometimes it's a financial consideration as well. I will tell you, I need my apple tree. But I have half a bushel of Zestars. So I'm excited about that. A few more jalapenos to add to my cowboy candy. Now, today is very, very hot. I am not going to heat up my house with the canner. It's supposed to be much better tomorrow. So tomorrow will be an all-out preserving day. So I hope to bring you along on some of those projects. I promise crafts are coming, but it's probably going to be in September. I'm not even sure when this video is going up, just saying. Okay, I think it'll be the end of August. Yes, it's the 25th today. I apologize. But I will see you very soon. If you haven't already, would you do me a big favor? Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop me that comment below. What is your biggest challenge in trying to be self-sufficient? And if you have a solution for us, how did you overcome it? I'd be very interested to hear. Until I see you again, be healthy, be well, be blessed. Take care.